Namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
All right. For those of you who aren't familiar with that term, it is an Eastern term that basically means the divine in me meets and greet the divine in each and every one of you, because there is a divineness in each of us, if you will. So, as indicated, we're calling the meeting to order now. I'm going to go ahead and issue a welcome to everyone who's in attendance for the third and fourth quarter review meeting of Parc, which, as you all are aware, stands for the Police Advisory Review Committee. I believe we have a forum here. The chair will be here a little later, if you will. So we're just going to go ahead and dive in. We're on agenda item number 3, which is the mission, vision, rules of the forum. And Ms. Laura, may I ask you, please?
Of course. The mission of the Police Advisory and Review Committee, Parc, is to provide community members of the City of Knoxville a civilian oversight committee that audits the discipline processes, policies, and procedures of the Knoxville Police Department. The purpose of Parc is to strengthen the relationship between community members of the City of Knoxville and the Knoxville Police Department by providing a timely, fair, and objective review of community complaints. Parc also assists community members in navigating the investigative process after filing a complaint with KPD. Rules of decorum are: those who wish to speak during public forums should sign up by contacting the Parc office ahead of time or by signing up in person prior to the start of the meeting at 6 p.m. All speakers will be given 5 minutes. Please do not use profanity and remember to stay on topic. Those who fail to adhere to those rules may be ruled out of order and asked to step away from the podium. For those who are listening, please note that you may not disrupt a public meeting from the audience. Those who do so may be asked to leave. We appreciate everyone's respect of these rules.
All right. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the approval of the 2025 second quarter meeting minutes. We're going to give you a couple of minutes to look this over if you haven't had the opportunity to. We're going to do like they did me when I was in school and you were given this opportunity. Once you finish, if you'll just look up, that gives me an indication that people have at least perused the minutes. All right, with that, does anyone else need any additional time? If not, if we could go ahead and receive a motion to accept the minutes, please.
So moved.
Okay, it's been,
Second.
all right, thank you, ladies. It's been moved and properly second that the 2025 second quarter meeting minutes be approved. All those in favor, if you'll raise your hand, please. All those opposed? All right, thank you. Next, we have the Executive Director's report, who will be given by our Executive Director, Mr. Crum.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I feel like a comedian bombing up here. Like, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Rough room. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Parc
Year.
has strengthened its professional leadership and national engagement through participation in NACOL 31st Annual Conference in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We attended the conference with Josie Russell, my colleague here, serving on the conference planning committee. In addition, Parc celebrated an internal milestone as community manager Josie Russell was honored with the Employee of the Year award. We're very proud of her for that. Recognizing her outstanding service, dedication, and impact within the city of Knoxville. We continue to prioritize youth engagement and accessibility through several community-based initiatives. Community office hours were held at Austin East High School where students were highly engaged and actively participated in discussions about Park's role, community accountability, and civic involvement. Staff also attended career fairs at Saremore Green Magnet Academy and Vine Middle Magnet Schools, providing students with information about public service careers, community oversight, and opportunities to engage with local government. Outreach and education efforts were further expanded through direct engagement with law enforcement and the broader community. We instructed Knoxville Police Department recruit classes, ensuring new officers were informed about Park's mission of oversight, processes, and the importance of transparency and community trust. We also participated in the National Night Out and Lights Out events that took place throughout the city, where I shared Park's message and increased public awareness of available resources. As we enter 2026, I pause to look back at the success and struggles of 2025. I am renewed in my deep belief that Park will continue to provide the city with an equitable and easily accessible place to find police oversight. I also want to share, as I often do, that the professional partnership with KPD is a valuable tool in ensuring that our mission continues without the adversarial nature that can exist between police departments and oversight agencies. And I submit this as my public report, and my written report has been submitted to the committee for your submission.
All right, we appreciate that.
I'm
Richard,
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm due to, there's going to be a little switch in things. I'd like to introduce Sergeant Lockmiller of the Special. Oh, I'm sorry, please, go ahead.
That's okay.
See, this is why Joseph's employee of the year.
All right then, while acknowledging that you verbally gave us your report and that it is available for review, we do need a vote. So could I have someone to make a motion to accept the executive director's report?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that the executive director's report be accepted as given. All those in favor, let it be known by raising of hand. All those opposed? All right, thank you. Now, Jared.
Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Sergeant Lockmiller. You can come up. From the Special Crime.
Yeah, I'll kick us off real quick. It's a pleasure to be before the committee tonight. My name is Joe McHale. I'm the Deputy Chief over the Investigations Bureau for the Knoxville Police Department. I have two key leaders under my command here tonight with me. Captain Tammy DeVoe is an Investigative Command Supervisor in the Bureau, and Sergeant James Lockmiller is the Sergeant over our Special Crimes Unit. Tonight we're going to address an area of specific concern in the community and how we handle some of our most sensitive cases dealing with missing juveniles or runaway juveniles. I want to make sure that I speak to a concern in the community that we handle all of these cases equitably in a timely manner and regardless of zip code. I want to ensure that we recognize that there's a perception or a fear in the community that they may not be handled in this way. I wanted to assure you and demystify the process that we take to show you that these cases are handled in an equitable and timely manner. Our mission is to ensure that every parent in the city of Knoxville has the full weight of the Knoxville Police Department behind them when they have a missing child or a runaway child. And I think we have the processes that are in place. We follow state law and protocols set by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to ensure consistency and adherence to our protocols. So thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight, and Sergeant Lockmiller will go through our process and procedures.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to Parc for giving us a few minutes of your time. I know that it is probably a long agenda, and so I will keep this part of it brief. More to open questions for other people if they have any. And I apologize for being behind you, Mr. Groom, but there was no way for me to shift things around. So the first thing I want to do is give you an idea of all of the things that we cover, not just the topic in question. But the Special Crimes Unit is responsible for all child abuse cases, elder abuse, all sex-related crimes, missing youths, which is going to be the highlight tonight, which by our definition and the state's definition, because of the Holly-Bobo Act, is 20 and younger. So in some cases, we're actually talking about people who are legally adults, but may be in a position such as like UT students that may not have resources available to them that other people do that are young adults. We're also responsible for all domestic violence, which does include assisting with orders of protection, shelter, and other services. We have the sex offender registry, and we also have a human trafficking element that we add, which kind of coincides with missing youths on occasion. As far as staffing goes, my supervisor is Lieutenant Mike Perry. He regrets not being able to be here, but he left town this afternoon, and so I appreciate your time as well. We also have Dr. David Kitts, who is our outreach and education person. If you have a student who is a high school student in Knox County Schools, they have probably had a class with Dr. Kitts, particularly around dating violence and other forms of domestic violence that are not as maybe widely thought of first and foremost as opposed to something more traditional. Jackie Roberts is our case coordinator. She's actually the one who moves all the pieces. She is the primary person who keeps the office running. We currently have 4 victim advocates. Their primary responsibility is helping mostly walk-ins with obtaining orders of protection and assigning them to a detective if they need or want to speak with a detective. And then following up with other cases that may need victim assistance. So they actually call or attempt to make contact with every victim of every single domestic violence report that comes into the Knoxville Police Department, whether successful or otherwise, and they'll attempt 3 or 4 times before that effort is ceased. As far as detectives go, we currently have 7 detectives. Donna Carberry is solely responsible for the sex offender registry. We have Ethan Grant, who's actually here in attendance. He is our missing persons detective. And then we have Todd Harden, who's our elder abuse. He works mostly in that realm, except when he's on call, he may catch a general assignment case in that element. And then we have 4 general assignment detectives, with Detective Vasquez also handling the lead on any human trafficking cases that we may have. Now, as it relates to missing youths, for calendar year 2025, this was as of January 2nd, we ran it again. We received a grand total of 284 reports. Now, that's an important distinguishment to make because we do have some children who run away more than once in a year, and so that will generate individual report numbers. So it makes it seem like we have 284 children run away, when in truth, that number is going to be probably 10% lower. We're probably somewhere in the ballpark of 250 individual reports for individual children. Out of those cases, up here you can see active cases on the right. As of January 2nd, 10 of those cases were still considered active, which means that child had not been located yet. There was 1 that was still pending, so our clearance rate for 2025 is 96%. Now, you're getting ready to say we want it to be 100%. We agree. One of the things that we can't capture and show in a slide like this is since January the 2nd, some of these 10 have been recovered and new ones have come in. So that number is always floating based on the number of reports in and the number of recoveries that happen in that same time frame. So a 96% closure rate with open cases included is a really solid number. One of the misnomers perhaps about missing persons cases is that after a certain time, we stop looking at them. That's not accurate. If you file a missing persons report, even if you find your loved one, if you don't tell us and we don't know, that report is still active. And so we will still follow up on leads in an attempt to locate somebody who has been reported missing. In some cases, they've been home for an extended period and they just didn't think to call. We have some cases that are, I don't want to call them cold cases because I feel like that term is something that is perhaps misused there, but we do still have open cases that predate 2025. We review those multiple times a year looking for new information because a lot of times we're talking about teenagers who may have been 16, 17 at the time they ran away from home. They're now 18, 19, 20. They start wanting to get things like a state ID, which provides us with a new address, which provides additional leads. The last 2 years, we have recovered somebody through those follow-ups who was presumed to still be missing, but had just become an adult and started living on their own, or whatever their home situation was that caused them to flee, and they were both recovered safely. So a 96% closure rate is a solid number, with it being a fluid number like that. We do have demographic breakdown here, but it's not as extensive as it is on the next slide. The next one actually breaks it down by month and demographic so that you can see kind of any trends that may be present. I will tell you that generally speaking, we do not see a trend based on, matter of fact, like the chief said, zip code or demographic of any sort. The only month that I will draw your attention to is September, where we had the lowest of the year for 25 at 11. I would assume there's a correlation with the resuming of school, right? I mean, so as school starts back, there is a hypervigilance on attendance, no truancy, that sort of thing. And then once the school year kind of gets settled and that hypervigilance kind of wears off, kids starting to wander off. So that would be the correlation that I would draw there, because if you'll notice the rest of these months, with the exception of an outlier here, we average about 23, 24 cases a month consistently. And so there's no trend as you might want to see. I do have hard copies of this if somebody wants to see it so they can look at it more in depth at a later time, because I know that we are limited on time. And if somebody has questions as well, I know that this presentation was generated based off of some community concern about how these cases are investigated. I can tell you personally that I have worked a case where it was 6 months old. We reevaluated. The mother had a new lead that she forgot about previously, which led to an identification, which led to involving the FBI, which I came into work on a Wednesday at 8 a.m. and by lunch I was on a plane to Phoenix to recover a child. So we do take those cases seriously. If we feel like that is a concern, like a human trafficking element, we will work with whoever we need to make sure that child is brought home safely. As far as perhaps the most hot button term that may perk up everybody in the room, Amber Alerts. Amber Alert is something that most parents believe that when their child goes missing, an Amber Alert gets issued. That is not the case. In order for an Amber Alert to be issued, there has to be an abduction. If there is not a physical abduction, we do not meet the criteria for an Amber Alert, which is directed by the TBI. We do have endangered child alerts, which do have a little bit more ambiguity to them in the criteria. And so each one of those cases that we believe meets the criteria is sent to the TBI for evaluation. But they're ultimately the agency that decides whether or not an alert gets issued. So when your phone goes off in the middle of the night and wakes you up with that alert, that's the TBI that's decided that we've met that criteria. That happens maybe twice a year on average. We do not have to contact them all. Does anybody have questions? Absolutely.
So you're tracking demographics. Do you not have sufficient Asian or Hispanic reports to track that demographics?
So that is a federal thing, and I don't want to speak outside of my realm of expertise, but demographic, because my understanding is the federal government decided to eliminate that type of demographic data because they got such a wide variety of responses when it came to race. Some people might report the country they came from as an indigenous people of a South American country. And so those reports, according to the federal government, are demographic as white.
Okay.
Can I make a comment?
Absolutely.
So I serve on the board of the Community Coalition Against Human Trafficking, and I've been on there since 2017. And we had assembled a law enforcement working group, and I met Lieutenant Vasquez. He's come to our working group meetings more than once. And I just wanted to reiterate that the Knoxville Police Department has been just exemplary with helping a nonprofit, helping other law enforcement agencies in East Tennessee with all things human trafficking, especially with being very sensitive and compassionate with our survivors. So I just wanted to echo what you said about him, but he's been great.
Yeah, I tell you, our efforts go way beyond what I'm used to seeing. I am very impressed with what we do in this sphere to locate kids. We had one recently. We're out there canvassing. We have a drone up looking for them. We headquarter the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force for the entire state of Tennessee. Our team does a tremendous job with this. I'm very impressed, and I'm very, very proud of the work that they do. And it is something that it is a tireless job because this stuff never stops. It never stops. And a lot of times, some of the stuff they deal with is, children that have run away multiple times, sometime over a dozen times in a year or so. And
And it's really, really challenging for them, but they don't stop, they don't give up, they do really.
Thank you for your time very much. Appreciate it.
I wanted to add something.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to steal your clap, I saw something. But we were gonna, I just asked the chief if he would share this slide deck with us, and we will post this on our website. So this will be available, I'm not sure exactly on the time frame, but definitely by late next week, this will be available for anyone to review at home or anywhere else. And if there's any additional questions, you can contact 215-7000, I would say, and ask for your office. What office would they be asking for?
So we operate out of the Family Justice Center.
Family Justice
And
Center.
so if you ask for KPD at the Family Justice Center, you're gonna reach our office. There's not a division there.
And another general question that I've been asked many times, is there a rash of abductions of black girls in Knoxville?
So that was the social media post, which I think is
Correct,
what
that's
started this
why I
conversation.
wanted to speak to the concerns that
My concern with that commentary when it came out was that he referenced two specific cases that happened within 2 weeks, which is both a short period of time and not in the grand scheme of things. And so one of those cases was a child who is not from here and did not want to be at the facility she had been placed at. And that was that's what drove her to flee. The reality is she probably returned home, which makes it increasingly difficult for us because we don't have the reach to go to Middle Tennessee necessarily. We have to rely on other agencies to do that preliminary legwork. And so if she's not here, our tips don't generate because she's not here, she's not home. So we have to reach out to those agencies and get them to disseminate the same information, try to get feedback. The second case that he referenced had been a frequent runaway. And that can be for a multitude of reasons. And if it's a conversation that needs to take place or have the involvement of DCS, we work with DCS every day. That is something we can absolutely facilitate. It can also be mental health struggles. And that is something that we see a growing trend of as medicine gets better. We start identifying and diagnosing things younger. And so that's something that I think you would see as a long-term trend, that when you can't diagnose those things before, you don't realize it. And now there's probably something that is a reasonable explanation as to why it's occurring.
because I just wanted to reiterate as well, the education you gave us tonight, and the education I got when I spoke to Chief, really illuminated my ability to understand the scope of missing children. It's a very broad scope of what that means. So there is not actively that we know of someone snatching black girls in East Knoxville.
That's what there is.
Very rarely do you get abduction, correct?
A straight up abduction. The case that I referenced where I flew to Phoenix, part of the impetus for that was because she had been gone so long and we knew who had convinced her to leave home. And so that's the closest thing that we've had to a physical abduction since I've been in the office, which has been 4 years. And so otherwise it is typically teenagers that we see that are experiencing some type of home or social issue that causes them to make that decision. When it comes to younger children, like little children, like as an example, this weekend with inclement weather approaching, if a child ran away this weekend and we felt like they didn't have the ability to seek out shelter or resources that they need, like a teenager may have, a small child doesn't have that ability. You better believe everybody that's working is going to come out there and try to find that child.
And I just wanted to share that concern so that we just are very transparent about what the concerns of the community are, and that we can get a direct answer, and that we can fill the gaps of ignorance with knowledge. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your time as well.
We appreciate Sergeant Locke Miller and the information that he just departed amongst us. Before we continue, I want to go ahead and acknowledge a new member to Parc. And you just wave your hand. This is Jackie Robinson, to those who may not know her. Do you have anything you might like to add quickly or say?
Just glad to be here.
All right, then, thank you. All right, we're gonna move ahead to subcommittee reports, if you will. And I don't have glasses, so it's audio visual. I'll remember to bring them next time. Who's gonna do the audio visual? Valerie, are you gonna do that? No? She said,
Her voice is coming. I think, yeah, Cynthia,
Do we do it?
yeah, her voice is kind of giving her the blues right now. So Cynthia stepped up to help.
The audio video report for the third and fourth quarters, which is July through September and October through December of 2025. Of the 0 referral action forms and 7 OPS cases reviewed by Parc, there were 5 cases with documented audio and video recordings based on body-worn cameras and/or the incident taking place in the vicinity of the officer's patrol vehicles and within a recordable range. The audio video subcommittee submits the following findings for a third and fourth quarter review. File number 1, there are only 7 of these. File number 1, Ops case 242956, no audio visual footage for this case. File number 2, Ops case 242956, no audio visual footage for this case. File number 3, Ops case 242953, there is audio visual footage for this case not needed for review. File number 4, Ops case 242949, there is audio visual footage for this case not needed for review. File number 5, Ops case 242949, there's audio visual footage for this case not needed for review. File number 6, Ops case 242949, there's audio visual footage for this case not needed for review. And finally, file number 7, Ops case 242951, there's audio visual footage for this case not needed for review. In summary, the Knoxville Police Department's General Order 2.16, parentheses, digital audio video recording equipment, and parentheses, details that officers and vehicles equipped with audio video recording equipment shall be in a record mode at all times when there is potential for contact with a person in the community, whether on duty or secondary employment. The purpose of digital audio video recording equipment is to monitor all contacts with a person in the community in all situations possible. In addition, Knoxville Police Department requires sergeants to review officers' audio and visual footage twice per month, parentheses, at random, to ensure that their equipment is operating properly.
thank you.
Well,
Yes. All right, now that we've heard the following report from Cynthia, if we could go ahead and receive someone who's willing to move to accept the report.
I move to accept.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that the audio-visual report be accepted as given. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? All right, thank you. We're gonna move on to bias-based policing.
Racial profile report for third and fourth quarters, July through September and October through December 2025. There were zero alleged racial profiling bias-based policing cases reviewed by Parc during the school reviews. KP policy and procedure reviewed. General Order 1.41, bias-based policing policy. That is the policy of the Knoxville Police Department that we are committed to preserving the peace and maintaining order in the city of Knoxville by practicing bias-free policing and respecting the rights and dignity of all citizens. Definition: bias-based profiling, the practice of stopping, detaining, or searching a person based solely upon a common trait or a group that includes but is not limited to their race, color, ethnicity, age, gender, sexual orientation, religion, economic status, or any other identifiable group characteristic.
All right, we've heard the reading of the report. Excuse me, can we have someone move to accept it, please?
so moved.
All right, can we get a second? Second. All right, it's been moved and properly second that we accept the reading of said report. All those in favor, let it be known by the raising of your hand, please. All those opposed? All right. Report accepted as given. We're up to the last one, is operations case review.
I think that's me.
Mm-hmm.
Third and fourth quarters operations report, July through September, October through December 2025. The following report provides a total for current quarter cases. Cases reviewed by KPD, closed ops and or referral action, form cases 7, as you heard. Parc, community anonymous complaints received via the Parc office, 18. Community anonymous complaints referred to ops or a captain, 13. Total cases received includes IAU and complaints to Parc, 13. Total cases pending for the quarter, complaints that are awaiting review by Parc upon the completion of a KPD or Parc investigation, 3. Total cases closed for the quarter, the overall number of cases reviewed and closed by Parc staff, 10. And if I may, Madam Chair, make a motion to accept as published the rest of the report for the operations.
Yes. Does anyone have any concern based upon what Cynthia has requested that we do as a body? Hearing none, can we receive a motion to accept?
Motion.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that we accept the operations case review report. Can we show a show of hands of those in favor? Those opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, case matters addressed by the committee. Do you have anything for that? Don't, nothing? All right, moving right along. Yeah, so we have some committee business. There appears that there were some questions that were provided to Parc, and I believe Cynthia, you're gonna start us off, or are you gonna do all three?
I'm gonna do 2.
All right, thank you, please.
So we have 3 citizen questions that were submitted to the Knoxville Police Department. Number 1, in the emerging policy on surveillance, will community representatives be a part of the oversight process?
Sure, so we'll have the same oversight that we have for everything else that we have, pursuits, use of force, everything else. So for our real-time information center and our drone for first responder program, both of which are not operational yet. We're in the process of creating a policy for that, for those programs now. Once those policies are created, they will be posted live on our website, just like every policy for the Knoxville Police Department is posted on our website. Before the real-time information center goes live, we're going to host an open house for elected officials, including city council members, to come in and take a look at what we're doing. So that'll happen again before we go live. The oversight will use the same process that we use now. We have supervisors that will work in there. There will be a commander of the unit, ultimately up to Chief Evans, who's sitting in the back of the room, our Chief of Field Operations, and then myself, Chief, and then also Chief Powell as well. Then we also have Parc as well, and we have welcomed Parc into our department. We sit down on a regular basis once a month with Parc staff and go over questions, go over concerns, brief them, and also invite them in all disciplinary hearings. So we will continue that same process. Our drone for first responder program will have a public-facing dashboard that will show every drone for first responder flight that we have. It'll show the track, it'll show all that information. We will build all that out, and all of that will be all sitting on our website as well. So the transparency is going to be built there to see everywhere that drone goes.
So you have any additional questions, follow-up?
I saw. I saw the story on the drone. My question: what advantages does that drone surveillance afford you in first response? And I guess, is that something like, do you expect a drone to be able to arrive quicker to the scene than officers?
Absolutely. So one of the challenges that a police officer has is, if someone calls 911, right, and that person passes on imperfect information to 911, right? They see something that happens from their perspective, they may be driving by, and then we get there 3 to 7 minutes later. Well, if you call 911 and say, this is happening at this location, normally 7 minutes later, that person is not there doing the same thing at that same exact spot, 3 to 7 minutes later. So an officer, when they're responding with imperfect information that may have changed before they get there, which could cause them to roll up on a situation that's changed, could cause someone to drive right on top of someone who has a gun or a knife or a toy gun or anything else. So the beauty of the Drone for First Responder program is we'll have that drone over that call within a short amount of time, and that drone operator is going to be relaying real-time information to an officer in the field. They just had an incident in Wichita, Kansas, just a couple of days ago. They had the same system deployed that we just acquired. They had a robbery of a gas station, and they had that drone over that location relatively quickly. Saw the perpetrator fleeing through backyards. The drone was able to stay on top of them, watch that person, vector the police officers, and they were able to catch them. Think about an incident where we get a call of someone with a knife in a park waving it around. Right, that person's moving around. Officers could end up too close to that person on the call because they don't know exactly where that person is, and end up having to use deadly force. If we have a drone over that person, if we see that person's by himself, he's not a danger to anybody else, we know exactly where he is, we could vector our police officers in, secure the location, get our negotiators in, get less than lethal options in, and hopefully neutralize the situation without having to use deadly force. What it's doing is it's providing real-time information to officers in the field. And you've done ride-alongs before. One of the challenges you have, and you saw this when you go on these calls, is you don't know what you're walking into every time. Well, that drone, in many cases, is going to give us more information to be able to help us respond to those calls.
How many drones are we talking about?
12.
12. Okay. Are they kind of strategically located around the city, or?
That's going to be the plan. We've literally just had this approved. That's in the next 6 months. We'll be setting that up. There's laws within the state of Tennessee that govern how we use those drones. So we can't use them to fly around for surveillance, right? It's not allowed by law. If we did that, we would be breaking the law. So if you go look, there's a Tennessee law that lays out when we could use those drones and when we can't, and it's pretty restricted.
Chief, I have one question. What all has been in the news about the drones is for the 12 additional, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How many have you all been using before now?
We have 6 drones now that are the hand-flown drones that you bring out to the scene just like you would almost like go buy at a store. Hand-flown drones that you bring out, you launch, and you fly. We have 6 of those now.
Yeah, and it's a couple of guys, I guess they're officers and not dressed, and they'll be in the neighborhood, and then the drone is somewhere else, correct?
Not really. So we have to be able to see those drones. So those drones that we fly, we're not flying them for like covert purposes or anything like that, because we're not allowed to. We use those drones for a lot of times we use them for search and rescue. We use them for our special events. But we have to be able to, that drone operator has to be able to have a line of sight and to be able to see that drone with those handful of drones.
The reason I'm asking that question, had 2 officers in my neighborhood that were flying a drone over the hill, and they were asked, and they were officers who said they were. And it was kind of weird to come home, there's 2 people in front of your house operating a drone, and really don't find out what's going on.
So if you get that, something like that, let me know. The beauty of, right now, we have the drones that we have now, the hand-flown drones, are not from a company called Skydio. That's the ones that we're getting the DFR program for. Once we eventually we would transition to all Skydio drones, then every drone flight will be on our website. So you will be able to go look on a public facing, you'll be able to go look yourself, log into a website, see if that was actually our drones or not. We're not there yet. The ones we have now are older, but as they phase out, we're going to go to this new company that every flight we have will be on a public facing page.
Okay.
I actually got a question if I may. Now, I know the Real-Time Crime Center will have a public access portal for people to opt in their respective security cameras and things of that nature. Does that extend to personal drone footage as
No.
well?
Does not.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions from Park? Any other questions about the drones? Okay. I'll move. Yep. And I'll pass it to one. Okay, thank you. So the second question is, what is the Knoxville Police Department's position on coordinating with ICE?
So, as you all know, there's a state law that requires us to do two things. State law requires us to notify ICE every time we come in contact with a person that's in the country illegally. The way we do that in the Knoxville Police Department, we don't ask immigration status, but when we come in contact with someone and we run their name through NCIC, we're now seeing for the first time these orders of removal from the country. I've been a police officer 28 years. 27 of those years, those orders of removal were never entered into NCIC. Now they are. So once that order of removal pops up, we're now aware of that person, their status. So we're required to notify ICE, and we're also required to cooperate with ICE with the identification, apprehension, detention, or removal of anyone in the country illegally. So that's what we do. So if we come in contact with someone that has order of removal, we notify ICE as we're required to, and we will wait a reasonable amount of time to see if they're going to come and pick up that person. What they do in practice is when we call them, they will tell us whether they're coming or not immediately. There was a lot that was made of this 20-minute wait time. We're not sitting around waiting 20 minutes to see if they show up. When we call them, they say, we're in the area, we're coming, or we're not coming. If they say they're not coming, we document it, we let them go. They've only come and picked those individuals up a handful of times. I will say that since that last article ran in the News Sentinel about this, we have seen activity in the city pick up a fair amount. So that's one of the things I think, attention to this, is bringing a little more coverage. But we do what we're required to do by state law. We also have a policy on this, which is sitting on our website as well for everyone to read.
What's gonna be the procedure with children when they're in school?
That has no effect with us at all. We're not involved in any of that.
So your school officers.
We don't ask immigration status at all. If we run
No,
someone,
I mean, if they show up at a school,
if who shows up,
if ICE shows up at a school to remove a child, your officer that's in the school has to go along with what is being asked of them?
that if someone shows up at a school to do a law enforcement function, that's their business. We don't engage in that business.
But are you asking if?
I don't quite understand the question.
I guess I'm asking, if you have an ICE officer show up in the office at the school saying they're there to pick up a child, what's supposed to happen as far as the school staff? They're just supposed to turn over the kids?
I would ask that. I would ask you to direct that question to the school system. I'm not going to speak for the Knox County school system.
Are you asking if they're called to the school?
No,
Like ICE shows up?
If ICE shows up.
Right,
And they're
but they're not
coming,
there. KPD is not there.
KPD, there's an officer in every school.
I think
Okay,
that's
so-
Just in the high schools, yes.
So,
think that's what
Okay,
she
I
referred
guess
to.
I'm asking hospital.
yeah, I think that's where we're going.
Like, would you assist the
But,
ICE agent if the high school?
I mean,
Well, I'm-
it's a tough
Is
hypothetical.
that- yeah, I know this.
I mean,
I don't know the answer, obviously, but I think if I may kind of give some clarity or context, if a ICE agent shows up to X middle, I ain't gonna say the name of the school, X high school here in the city of Knoxville, there is a city of Knoxville police officer working
Yep.
there. What is his responsibility in regards to either facilitating, assisting, or simply documenting?
We don't have instructions one way or the other. We don't tell them that they can't speak to them or that they have, it's what we would do with it.
Well, would
The
they- would
situation is depends on the situation.
Could the ICE officer command, when I use that word loosely, command the
No.
KPD officer to assist him in the detention?
No other agency could command us to do anything, but,
Okay.
police officers do assist other law enforcement officers in
As
functions.
needed, yes.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a tough hypothetical. It's I can't,
Has that ever happened thus far?
It's not happened, not that I'm aware of. But we don't have a policy, we don't have a policy against that, or we don't have a policy on that one way or the other.
Does that answer your question?
I have a couple questions. With regards to your report about you call ICE for them to come and pick them up, and I think there was an incident a couple weeks, maybe last month, where the officer actually took the detainee to ICE facilities. Is that
Right.
going to be common practice?
No, that was against our policy, and I think we made that very clear that was against our policy.
And then my follow-up question is, the last time we met, your comment to us was that technically we were little fish in the bigger scheme of things. Has that, your stance on that changed? As far as ICE presence in Knoxville?
You're gonna have to help me out. I don't.
Yeah, I know it was a long time ago. The last meeting that we had, and I brought up that question, you said that we were, Knoxville in the greater scheme of things was a smaller fish, as far as ICE raids or ICE presence. Has your stance changed now? Are we no longer a small
Is my
fish?
opinion, I guess my perception of that, I guess.
Is your opinion,
I mean,
are
I've
we no
certainly
longer a
seen-
small fish?
I've certainly seen more activity. Like I said, since the newspaper article ran, I've certainly seen some more activities.
Any other questions for Mark? Okay, I think we're having Laura read the last.
Yes. And is the command staff of KPD racially diverse? If not, are there plans to diversify?
So I've spoken about this a lot, both publicly and privately. Privately, I think everyone here has seen me speak about that a lot. Not something I shied away from. This is a problem that existed for years, and there's no easy way to get out of that. It's something that we're going to have to build out through within the department. I mean, that's just the way it is. We had a promotional ceremony yesterday. We promoted 2 black supervisors, like the first time in probably a very long time, or maybe ever, that we promoted 2 at one time. And so it's something that is important. It's important for me, but at the same time, we're not going to promote or hire anyone based on race. We're going to promote the best quality of candidate. But it's something we're going to have to build through the department. There's no other way to build out. In order to be promoted to a captain, you have to be a lieutenant. And if I have very few or 1 or 0 black lieutenants to get promoted, that's just that process. They have to move up from within. So it's something that's very important to me. We work really hard on hiring. I think since the last 3 years, we've hired more black officers since I've been here, since the department's hired in 10 or 12. But it's going to take some time.
Madam Chair, I think that's all we have for the questions.
All right, thank you to both of you so much. Whereas we didn't have anyone to sign up for the public forum, we're gonna move to agenda item number 11, which is community updates.
I have some announcements. KPD is still accepting applications for the Citizens Police Academy. That is available on their website. You can go on there to apply. I believe they have until the end of next month to get that in, if I'm not mistaken. And the session begins March 26th. It will go for 10 weeks, and it will be on Thursday nights starting at 6 o'clock. One of the requirements for all Parc committee members is that they attend the CPA within a certain amount of time of appointment. So that's something we always have people coming in and out of the committee. So you'll sometimes see our committee members in the police academy. Also want to say that Knoxville Police Department is now at full strength. I think that's the first time since about a decade. Is that right? 13 years or so. So that is another announcement to make. And our next meeting will be April the 23rd at the Larry Cox Senior Center. And that is all I have.
What, if I may, what about Parc members? Do you have any community announcements? Anything that we should be made aware of?
I would just like to add, it's not an announcement, kind of calling back to the previous conversation. Chief Noel and I have had conversations about the diversity in the police force, specifically in leadership and the command structure. And I think, yes, all of us should continue to hold them accountable. But I think we all should be pitching in on this as well. And within our own spheres of influence, talking to kids about the cadet program, looking for opportunities to get the chief or whoever from KPD in to speak to the kids, the neighbors that we serve and work with. And I think that's something that we can all pitch in on, but I think we need to continue to make that a priority.
If each of you all would recruit one person of color to the police department, it would dramatically shift everything. We have one black cadet right now in our cadet class. I personally recruited him from the Boys and Girls Club. So, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, it's something I'm very passionate about. We absolutely, you're right, we need your help. We need your help.
It's a community issue, and I think we all want a police force that looks like and represents our community well.
And and then they add to this, I speak to a lot of people about this very issue, and I speak to people that say the same thing. They want more diversity within the police department, but they also tell family members not to work for the police department. And I'm just being honest. I'm just calling it like it is, right? And it's it's really hard. That's why a lot of the black candidates, they will be recruited from out of state or from out of the area. And we could change this really quick. And like I said, we've done pretty good over the last 3 years. We're bringing people in, but if everybody that asked me this recruited one, it would shift. We'd be able to shift the whole thing. We could shift it really quick. But each one, it's a grind recruiting each one, because we're going against so many internal currents that say, don't work at the police department, it's not a good career, or you're gonna be, knocking out your family, your friends and stuff like that. It's something that if we're gonna change it, it needs to be done locally. We really do need your help.
Chief, you gotta get your recruiters, to quit deciding the stereotype that just because a kid has made it to high school, they hate the police. That's why you can't get them. They don't take the step. Just because a kid is in high school, you still can engage with them. Don't just decide, they've already decided or have an opinion. A lot of these kids, if you take the time and get to know them and let them see police are not bad, everybody's not out to try to kill you. Take the time to get with these kids. Just because they're in high school, kids' minds can change.
I'm gonna push back on that though. I don't think any of our recruiting team.
Well, it was said when I was in the class, and they were talking about, well, once a kid gets to high school, they've already decided they don't like the police. That's not true.
Well, I've not seen that from any one of our recruiting teams, I promise you.
Well,
You said, what you say?
he was the
I'm sorry.
gentleman that taught our class,
What class are you referring to?
the Citizens Academy class.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that was taken out of context. I've not seen that from any member of our team. We work really.
I even asked him what was being done as far as minorities, and he was started talking about women. And I wasn't necessarily talking about women, I just meant minorities, period.
Sure. Well, I tell you, our recruiting team, we're in schools. We're working on right now building out an Explore program with Director Kroon. I mean, we are actively working internship programs. We're in schools all the time, and it's very positive.
Have you set up a program, an Explore program at Austin East?
Have we set up an Explore program in Austin East? No, we haven't.
Have you tried?
If I may, it's through the Boy Scouts
Yeah.
of America, so it's more a partnership than just independent.
We'll
but-
try to get them
but
inner city
I
kids.
don't want to speak too much ahead of what we're trying to work on.
Yeah.
But we're working on a program that will predate the age limit for the Explorer program so that we can reach kids even younger than that who are less impressionable by some of the peer pressures and other factors that community-based things happen, so that we can start to initiate them. And this not a, and just I want to say it also, the program we're talking about is not about policing. It's about integrity, honor, truth-telling, principles that would be a good police officer, but it'd also be a good person.
Right.
But we want to work with the police department to instill in these young people these things that will hopefully bridge them to the Explorer program and thusly to the cadet program. And so we are speaking to those issues. I'm not gonna ask you here in this format, but I would love to know who said that, because we can address that. But I want you to know that it is being addressed, it's being taken seriously, not just by the chief, but by my office as well. Because we need people from the community to police the community. Because there's a certain cultural competency that can't be taught when you are in a community where you understand the nuances of behaviors, where you understand the relationships that may exist. So I'll leave it at that, but thank you for the question.
Can I say something? Also, as a community, we have to remember that in certain climates like we have right now, it's going to be difficult to recruit minorities when everything else seems to be against them. So I'm not defending anybody anywhere. It's still us as a community who are responsible for that upbringing or that encouragement to our youth to be engaged and to try and not give up. And just because they don't come to my house doesn't mean I don't go to their house, right? But right now, I think in this political climate, it's going to be more difficult to get any minorities into the police because of all that's going on. And it's natural, but it's still community. Yes.
Any other comments from Park? All right. With there being no other comments, can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. All right. Thanks everyone for coming out.